Yes, we're back. It's episode number 155, I want to say. Yes, it is episode number 155. And oh boy, I am ready for this episode. I hope you are, because we're talking Guardians, we're talking NASCAR, we're talking about the high school football season, because it's only 51 days away. I know, it's almost here. Considering history, the world being like 4.5 billion years old, 51 days isn't that far away. But yeah, so let's look at the Cleveland Guardians first off. Team leaders, in average, it's that guy right there, Andres Jimenez, with a 312 average. Jose leads the Guards in home runs with 16, RBIs with 63, and stolen bases with 12. Manuel Clase leads the Guards in saves with 18. Shane leads them in ERA with 3.07 and strikeouts with 88. And if I look at this, Jose's third in the league now in RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt has 65, P. Alonso has 69, which is very unfortunate that Jose Ramirez is no longer the leader in RBIs. But he only has more RBIs than MVP candidates Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez. Let's look at the series recaps, because, of course, Guardians against the Twins. Guardians won first series 2-1. Oscar Gonzalez home run, 4 RBIs in Game 2. Guardians came back in the 9th inning down 3 to win. It was pretty impressive. And then they had first place all to themselves in Game 2. And then came Game 3. The tough luck loser was Zach Plesac, who only gave up 1 run. There's Framil Reyes. He's having a very rough season this year. And as you can tell, he has not been doing that well, but does get the base hit there and the RBI, which is good for my fantasy team, but still hanging on the Mendoza line. Hopefully he can continue, or he can keep it, or hit home runs like he typically does. Guardians against the Red Sox. Guardians got swept 3-0. It was sweeping time, but not in the right scenario. Oscar Gonzalez had a nice gun out in Game 1. Rafael Devers had a home run Game 1. Alex Verdugo 3-run home run Game 2. Shane Bieber 7 innings, 4 strikeouts in Game 2. Red Sox scored the first 5 runs in Game 3. J.D. Martinez 2 RBIs in Game 3. Guardians against the Twins, while Cleveland down 2-1 right there. Gary Sanchez 3-run home run, 4 RBIs in Game 1. Carlos Correa 2-run shot in Game 1. And this game right here that you're looking at, Game 2, Ahmed Rosario had the go-ahead single in the 8th inning. In Game 1 of a doubleheader, there's Andres Jimenez hitting one deep in his center field, but not deep enough. Of course, he should be in the All-Star game. He's batting .310 now, by the way, excuse me. And Oscar Gonzalez batting .294. And home runs. Byron Buxton hit a home run. Of course, the Twins had 3 runs in the 3rd inning in the second game of yesterday's doubleheader. And this has been brought to you by the All-Star Game. That's right, we are almost done with All-Star voting. Tomorrow is the last day. You got to vote all Cleveland Guardians, like Owen Miller, Andres Jimenez, Jose Ramirez, who is leading over Rafael Devers, despite the fact that he has less average and less home runs. But yet again, it's still very close. I'd still vote for him. Pick Ahmed Rosario. And for catcher, I'm going to write in Richie. And then the outfield, let's look. Stephen Kwan better make it. Josh Naylor better make it. Not Miles Strong, but rather Oscar Gonzalez. Write him in. And then for DH, Franmil. Yeah, that's who I have for my All-Star ballot. Of course, yep, if you can see right here on your screen, as the Guardians eventually won that game, I have voted all Cleveland Guardians because that's what you're supposed to do. Look, Owen, Andres, Jose, Ahmed, Stephen Kwan, Josh Naylor, Oscar Gonzalez, Richie Palacios, and Fran meal race right there. I didn't even bother doing the National League because it's the National League. But yeah, there's Correa hitting another home run. Did you know that Carlos Correa still signs with the Houston Astros in 2017, 2018, and 2019? I know. Why didn't anyone tell me that? Trying to finish off. Here comes Ahmed Rosario soon on a 3-2 count. Delivers with not just one RBI, but 2 RBIs to give the Guardians the lead and the Guardians the victory. That was pretty impressive. And no, I'm not a robot, because that's what they were asking me. Don't you just hate select all squares? So dumb. Alright, it worked. I don't know why they have I'm not a robot for some reason. Oh, I'm not a robot again. See? As you can tell, I am not one. Anyways, once I'm done with this, yep, I'm done. We're going to hop right into NASCAR because we can. And it was at Nashville, the Ally 400. Chase Elliott won. 15th win of his career. Martin Truex Jr. won the first 2 stages. It was a crazy race because, well, it occurred in the rain, and the red flag was brought out twice. Chase Briscoe and Ty Dillon hit the wall on lap 61. Rain caused the caution on lap 119. And the race was delayed for 2 hours. Good Lord, 2 hours. Ryan Blaney spun with 95 laps to go. Chris Buescher lost the wheel late in the race, and Josh Bilicki lost an engine with about 10 laps to go. And it was a good race as always, very fun to watch. Always a treat to watch NASCAR, of course. It's been an interesting season. No racers having a big lead, no racers dominating the pack. It's been very back and forth in my opinion. We need to look at the NASCAR standings because why not? You know, I haven't played NASCAR Thunder 2004 in a long time. I don't know if it's because I'm really bad at that game or not. Standings, Chase Elliott's leading in points with 586. He has 2 wins this season. How about this? Ross Chastain, who was just seen earlier today on your screen, the number 1 car, is second. He also has 2 wins. And the cutoff, Eric Jones. Eric Jones is the cutoff at 16. Of course, let's look at what's going on next. Road America, then Atlanta, then New Hampshire, then Pocono, then the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, then Michigan, then the short track, Richmond, then you have Watkins Glen, the road course, and then Daytona. And yep, that is what it's gonna be. And then after that, on September 4th, you got the playoffs at Darlington, the really tricky egg race. Not the most fun race, but still. The racers in the playoffs right now include Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Kevin Harvick, who does not have a single win this season. Neither does Eric Almirola. Neither does Tyler Reddick. Neither does Austin Dillon. Kurt Busch does have a win this season, but Eric Jones doesn't. But that's what's going on in this season. Of course, it's been, once again, no one's been really dominating this season. Nobody has been dominating. It has been very, very close. Now time to go to high school football. Once again, we're 51 days away from the season beginning, which is going to be on August 19th for the Hornets. They'll be playing Berea Mid-Park at the famed George Fitty Stadium, which is where the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets play D3 football. And there it is right there. First off, the Greater Cleveland Conference. Leading that, in my opinion, who I think is going to win the Greater Cleveland Conference are the Mentor Cardinals. They'll be 5-0, 8-2. Of course, Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights will be joining the Greater Cleveland Conference next year. I think Brunswick, Medina, and Solon will all go 3-2. Of course, the reason why it goes Brunswick, Medina, and Solon in that order is because in alphabetical order, not tiebreakers, of course. Strongsville Mustangs 4-6, 1-4, and the Euclid Panthers 2-8, 0-5. Euclid trying to do something they did not do last year, and that's pick up a win. I think they can do it. I really think so. They had a lot of bad luck last season, in my opinion. But yeah, Mentor, who had a bunch of injuries last season, I was talking Northeast Ohio Zone yesterday, and we both agree that despite their injuries last season, I think they can still get something going. I think that they're going to win the GCC, which is basically the SEC of Northeast Ohio football. Of course, it's so loaded up that some teams that are good are going to have to deal with a pretty middle-of-the-road record, despite the fact that their record is way better or is way worse than what they are, because those teams are very talented. Some big conference games include Week 6 when Brunswick plays Mentor. Week 7, Medina plays Mentor. Of course, last year that was on ESPN in Mentor at Jerome T. Osborne. This year it's going to be at Ken Dukes. Solon against Brunswick. Week 8 at the Mart. It's going to be Brunswick against Medina and Mentor against Solon. Week 10, Ken Dukes is hosting Medina against Solon. The Federal League preview, which is in Summit County and mainly Stark County, where Canton is. Speaking of Canton, I have the Canton McKinley Bulldogs winning the Federal League 7-3. The Green Bulldogs, who had a run to the state last year, I have them going 8-2, 4-2. I think that'll be fun to watch. The Jackson Polar Bears 8-2, 4-2 as well. Hoover Vikings 7-3. 3-3. The Glen Oak Golden Eagles 3-7, 2-4. Lake Blue Streaks 4-6, 1-5, and the Perry Panthers 2-8, 0-6. Now time to look at some of the big conference games, including Week 4, Green against Jackson. Week 5, McKinley against Green. Week 6, McKinley against Hoover. Week 8, Canton McKinley playing Jackson. Holy cow, I think they're home for all of them. How about that? Oh, ye gods. Week 9, Hoover playing Green. Week 10, Jackson playing Hoover. And of course, Week 10 is also going to be the greatest rivalry in all of high school football. Massillon, Washington against Canton McKinley. Let me look that up for a second. Canton McKinley, Massillon rivalry. Sure. Of course. When was it last year? Looked like it was at Tom Benson last year. Because it was at Tom Benson last year. They are 8 miles apart. So this year it's going to be at Paul Brown Tigers Stadium, which was first opened in 1939 under the WPA of the New Deal. There's some history for you folks. It helped build not just one of the greatest stadiums in Ohio, but one of the greatest high school football stadiums in the country. Of course, Paul Brown Tigers Stadium will be host to the biggest rivalry in all of high school football. Cam McKinley hasn't won the last few years, but you know, if Michigan was able to beat Ohio State for the first time in a decade last year, maybe Canton McKinley can do it for the first time in a while. Let me look up the rivalry again. Canton McKinley rivalry history. Let me look. Or maybe not. Trying to find it. Rivalry history. Series results. There we go. Of course, Massillon, last time they lost was 2015. Last time they lost was 2015. And when it comes to the last 10 matchups, dating back to 2012, they did play in 2020 or despite COVID, which goes to show you that it's a better rivalry than Ohio State Michigan because they didn't play in 2020 because, of course, Michigan had that big COVID outbreak, which Ohio State fans still swear that it was just an excuse, which I don't know. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I mean, I'm not a fan of either of those two schools. I'm really hoping that we beat Ohio State week 1, even though I doubt it's going to happen, because that's the life of a Notre Dame fan. Get hyped every year, play a real team, and lose. But anyways, yeah. Canton McKinley last won in 2015. And the last time they won on the road, let me look at when was the last time they won on the road. And 2010. At Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, that was the last time they lost, or McKinley won on the road. But yeah, that should be a good rivalry. Of course, I don't think Massillon Washington's part of any, conference. I know there are a lot of schools that aren't affiliated with conferences here in Northeast Ohio. In my opinion, conference battles are fun because you get to play your rivalries. You get to have fun while you're at it. But yeah, that's just me. Well, folks, we did it. We got through everything today on Tommy Maroon Sports Show on WCTV. I'll talk to you next week. So long, everyone.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.